energies. And we'll talk more about those also. But those are characteristics of our metals. Let's talk about our nonmetals. And these are the ones that are right of the staircase, including hydrogen. These are mostly gases at STP. And remember, STP stands for standard temperature and pressure. These have high electronegativity values. And high ionization energies. They are poor conductors of heat and electricity. We say that they're insulators. They are brittle. So if I hit them with a hammer, they shatter. They're dull. They're not shiny. And our nonmetals gain electrons to form negative ions or anions. So all of our nonmetals, these are going to have, generally, they're going to have negative oxidation numbers because they're going to gain electrons. Now, there are a few right here, okay, that are right on the staircase. Hopefully you remember that those are called the metalloids. They also have another name, and I use metalloids, but I also use this one too. They're also called the semi-metals. And the semi-metals, or the metalloids, have properties of both metals and nonmetals. So, depending who you're studying with, they will either tell you that there are 6 metalloids or 7. And you should know them. B, Si, Ge, As, Sb, and Te. Okay. Some people will give you a 7th and tell you polonium is also a semi-metal. For our purposes, there are 6. This is what our curriculum defines as our semi-metals. Okay, so you need to know them, and here they are. Okay, B, germanium, arsenic, antimony, and tellurium. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so those are our semi-metals. Again, some people say polonium, but okay, not for us. Let's see, other things that we should write on here about the periodic table. There are, going across, these are called the periods. You guys we've already talked about that. Oops. Okay, so going across the table, there are 7 periods. And they correspond to the PELs. Going up and down. Okay, those are called groups. sometimes called families. Okay, there are 18 groups labeled right across the periodic table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. These, the actinoids and the lanthanoids, actinoids, all sit in group 3. They all sit right here. So these are all group 3 elements. Now, there are some that you have to know the names to. Okay, so the first thing you should know are the main group elements. And those are groups 1 and 2 and 13 through 18. So it takes out our transition elements, these guys. So these are the main group elements. Like I just said, groups 3 through 12 are the transition metals, or the transition elements. Group 1 are called the alkali metals. Realize that hydrogen is in group 1. It is not an alkali metal. It's actually a nonmetal. Group 2 are the alkaline earth metals. Group 17 are the halogens. And group 18 are the noble gases. Okay, so you need to know those groups by name. Let's see, some other things that you should know from the periodic table. We should probably talk about the diatomic elements real quick. So the diatomic elements are elements that are only found in molecular form. Okay, these are found in molecular form. And the diatomics mean that we have 2 atoms bonded together. And you need to know them. So we have H2, N2, O2, F2, Cl2, Br2, and I2. These are our 7 diatomics. Okay, and you learn these. There are lots of different mnemonics. Hofbrinkel. Okay, so if you rearrange it, there's Hof, B-R, Hofbrinkel. Yep. Okay, so that's one an acronym some people use to remember what they are. All right. You probably just remember most of the diatomics are in group 17. Okay. There are a few others. Okay, so they form a 7, except for hydrogen. All right, so make sure you know these. There are actually 2 more elements that are molecular elements. That you should need to know. And they're not diatomics. Phosphorus is actually found in 4s. And sulfur is found in 8s. Okay. So you should know that phosphorus is in a group of 4 when we find it elementally, and sulfur is in groups of 8s when we find them elementally. These are all diatomics. all the rest are monoatomic. Okay. We can find them as single atoms in elemental form. Let's see, what else should we know? Oh, phases. Phases of the elements. And this is at STP, standard temperature and pressure. Okay. Most of them are solids, okay, but you need to know which ones are not. So there are two liquids, mercury and bromine. Okay, so mercury and bromine are two liquids. Here's mercury and here's bromine. There are 11 gases. H2, N2, O2, F2, Cl2, and then all the noble gases. So H2, N2, O2, F2, Cl2, and then all of those. So those are all gases at STP, and then all the rest are solids. What else do we want to talk about? I think that's it. I think that's all I want to do with today. Next class we'll continue with this, but we're going to start talking about some oxidation numbers. So I think we'll stop here. All right. Yeah, that's all for today. Have a good afternoon.